In this video, we are going to discuss about certain important aspects of demand and recovery. Now, when I am recording this video, it's almost 8 years of GST, which are going to get over very soon. So it's very important that there are various multiple so-called notices, audits, assessments, scrutinies, demand letters, and therefore, like you keep getting this so-called notice and orders and keep filing appeals. So it's very important to know certain important aspects where the demands can be raised, what can be the defense which you can have in order to protect your rights, how do you really handle all these situations. So in this series, we are going to talk about various such angles, and we'll talk about certain practical things also. We'll discuss about provisions, some judicial pronouncements. Myself, CA Jayesh Gogri. And in this series, we are going to discuss about the demand and recovery aspects of GST. The first angle, which is important, is to really wonder if today you are sitting in 2025, can some officer raise demands pertaining to 2017-18 or 18-19? To what extent one officer can go back and recover taxes from you? Maybe there could be some bona fide reasons at your end that you couldn't pay taxes, or you didn't pay taxes because of some beliefs, some stands which you would have taken. And there could be certain scenarios that for certain reasons you forgot to pay taxes, or intentionally also sometimes there could be some errors or mistakes, etc., etc. So the first question which can come to somebody's mind or which needs to be addressed is to what extent the officer can go back in the past and ask you to pay taxes. And there could be two situations. One situation is where you have some bona fide reasons not to pay taxes, maybe because you were not aware or you were thinking that this item is not taxable and therefore the taxes should not be paid. And there could be certain scenarios where like you intentionally haven't paid. There was some malified intention for which you haven't paid taxes. So friends, right from financial year 17-18 till financial year 23-24, there were two sections which were dealing with this kind of situations. So one was section 73 of the CGST Act, which said that in bona fide cases, maximum the period can be demanded within 3 years. And for raising that demand, one has to issue a so cause notice at least 3 months prior to giving the order. So this was the scene up to financial 23-24, and thereafter there is a different scene. From 24-25 onwards, there is a different section called section 74A. So we'll discuss about that. But before we move on, let's deal with the period of 7 years, which is starting from 17-18 to financial year 23-24. So it was 3 years, but then you all are aware that there was COVID scenario which impacted working of all of us, and so was the government department which was impacted by the COVID. So there was some extension related notification. There was a suo motu order of the Supreme Court order, and also there were notifications from the central government. So that enhanced the limit of 3 years by further almost by 2 years more. And then we'll discuss that when to count this 3 years from, and in subsequent cases we'll also discuss 5 years where you had a malified intentions. So for 17-18, the due date was extended to 31st December 2023. Firstly, because the 3-year period has to be counted from the date of filing your annual return. The last date which was announced for 17-18 was 5th February 2020. Normally, all the annual returns are to be filed by the 31st December of the next financial year. But in 17-18, since the GST law was new, even the portal was not ready, even the SSCs were not ready. So the due date of filing annual return was extended, and then finally it was decided to be 5th February 2020. Now the period of 3 years has to be counted from that. But then ultimately it was further extended by way of like these notifications, which extended the period of that 3 years, that was 31st December 2023. So maximum the so cause notice, if at all, needs to be issued with regard to bona fide cases pertaining to 17-18. It was 30th September, because as I mentioned, 3 months prior to the last date. So 30th September was the last date by which one could have issued the demand notice. And if the notice has been issued prior to 30th September 2023, order can be passed maximum before 31st December 2023. Now, say for example, today we are sitting in May 2025. So now for sure, for 17-18, there cannot be any demand under section 73, bona fide cases. For 18-19, the last date for passing the order was 30th April 2024, which has also gone. The last date for issuing notice was 31st January 2024. That is, of course, gone. Now, when we talk about financial year 19-20, so the last date was August 2024. And for 2021, the last date was 20th February 2025. So till 2021, there cannot be any demand under section 73 in the GST law till, then for the financial year 21-22 onwards, the demand is possible. Even today, somebody can issue a notice. Today is 29th May 2025. So till 30th September 2025, one can issue a so cause notice under section 73 for recovering taxes for financial year 21-22, and of course then the subsequent periods. When it comes to malified cases, the due dates are different. It's not 3 years, it is actually 5 years. And the due date of issuing a so cause notice, 5 years is for passing the order. One has to pass the order, and before passing the order, at least 6 months before that, the department should have issued the so cause notice. So when it comes to 17-18, after all these extensions and everything, the last date was of issuing so cause notice was 5th August 2024. Now, when it comes to financial year 18-19, it will be 30th June 2025 by when the so cause notice should have been issued. So, as I mentioned, today we are sitting in the month of May when this video is getting recorded. So, department has got still one more month to issue a so cause notice invoking the section 74 of the malified intentions, and then they can issue a so cause notice. Once 30th June 2025 has gone, then after that there cannot be any demand for financial year 18-19. 17-18, as I mentioned, it has already gone, so no demand can be raised now. For 18-19 also, the demand post 30th June 2025, there cannot be any issuance of so cause notice. If the so cause notice has been already issued prior to 30th June 2025, then the last date to pass any order is 31st December 2025. And if that date of 31st December 2025 has gone, even though so cause notice has been issued, there cannot be any demand order. And for 1920 onwards, like we have got time till 30th September 2025. For 2021, it is 31st August 2026, and so and so forth. Now, this ultimately the date of issuance of so cause notice, etc., when to count from, we will cover it in the next video. Thank you.